Okay, let's talk about, somebody asked this, and I do want to give this a basic breakdown. I know we've already done extensively on yoga. You guys are like, we're tired of hearing about yoga. We're tired of talking about it, so welcome to the club. But this lady said, hey, I'm trying to explain to my young daughter, and kids yoga is a huge thing. If you guys didn't know that, there's like YouTube Kids, and there's TV shows now. Literally all these kids shows are doing yoga. We took our daughters to the Great Wolf Lodge. It's like a kid's place where water slides. And kid you not, we get down in the morning, and there's a bunch of little kids that are like 3 to 8 years old doing yoga in the lobby, and they had yoga for kids in the morning. Like, this is crazy. What is happening? And we know there's churches doing yoga. That's a whole nother topic, but let's just get it basic. I'm trying to explain to my daughter why yoga is bad, and the lady wants to know, why are the movements in yoga demonic? Like, explain to me why we don't have to go into the whole breakdown of yoga means union and all that. Just the basic sense of why is the movements demonic or wrong.
Yeah, so many different. You can never cover yoga enough because it's such a huge problem.
Yes.
So this, depending on how old your kids are, this might be too graphic to explain, but for a lot of people I know, they kind of just need that, like, oh, I can compare this to this. And so with yoga, I would say that, like, not all movement is holy movement. Like premarital sex, like sex within the context of marriage is holy and pleasing to God because that's his design. And so with yoga, like, it's not just stretching, it's a spiritual practice that uses the physicality of stretching as the modality to achieve the goal, the spiritual goal. And so God created the body to stretch. Like, people are always like, oh, stretching is demonic. No. Like, God created the body to move. God created the body to stretch. He did not create the body to stretch within the context of yoga in pagan worship. Like, God created men and women to have sex within the context of marriage, because otherwise it's fornication and it's a sin. And that creates soul ties, opens doors. Like, that's a whole other thing. But the point is, stretching within the context of yoga is divination. And the truth is, like, at best, it's sin. And at worst, it's using your body as a demonic antenna, because the yoga practice itself is a form of pagan worship. Like, you're using your body as a Hindu prayer. So even if you think that, because this is the other contention, the daughter might say, well, I'm worshiping God. Even if you think you're worshiping God, you're using your entire body to worship gods before him. You're literally defying the first and second commandment, because not only are you having other gods before him through the very participation of the yoga practice, but you're making a graven image with your own body, because the structure of the yoga asanas, the curation of the poses in any given vinyasa flow, literally designed to not only worship the little g gods, it's actually to embody their characteristics. Like you said, Isaiah, it's like the union. It's to yoke to their qualities so that you can ascend in higher forms of consciousness, become God yourself. So what I'm saying is, you're literally inviting pagan gods to become unionized with you. And that's regardless of your intention, because the devil doesn't care about your intentions. He cares about your agreement. That goes with any new age practice, anything, because that's saying actions speak louder than words, because action is faith manifested through your deeds. And the things you do are a result of what you believe. So if you continue to practice yoga or do anything in the new age, law of attraction, if you continue to do yoga despite the Lord's commands against worshiping other gods, against putting gods before him, against idolatry, against divination, you are assuming the position that you get to determine what is or is not okay by your own standard, not God's standard.
Wow.
And so that work is a reflection of your faith in your own understanding, not his. So that would be a dead faith, because the saying faith without works is dead, because it would be a dead faith because it's not producing the life that only works of submitting to his lordship can produce. Because if your works are in rebellion, your faith is misplaced. And your agreement is therefore outside of the kingdom of light. And like we've already talked about, there's only two kingdoms, the kingdom of light, the kingdom of darkness. There's no kingdom of neutrality.
Come on.
So anyway, that's like a long way around the barn to explain that regardless of your intentions, the movement within the yoga practice, you are pledging allegiance to the kingdom of darkness, because your agreement to do so is a work of defiance against God's instruction, against divination, against idolatry, against having other gods before him. And so that is the devil's legal right. And like I said already, it doesn't just go for yoga, it's for any sin. new age, fornication, worldliness, like stuff that we've talked about already. And it's literally evidenced, guys, in the garden that sin creates a rift between us and God, and it lets darkness in. So I'm not saying like, oh, if you did a yoga class, you're going to hell. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not questioning anyone's salvation. I'm just saying that you're creating a rift and you're letting something in that is not God through the yoga practice.
And 1000%, 1000%, I'm speaking from experience, and Angela has the same experience I do on this. You will get demons if you keep practicing yoga. I've done many deliverances where the demons came through yoga. So the idea, like, I love what you said about intentions, because imagine like smoking cigarettes your whole life and then you go to the doctor. Oh, by the way, you have lung cancer, you're gonna die. And you tell the doctor, well, I had good intentions. I smoked to relieve myself. I smoked to get stress out. And when I was smoking, I didn't have bad intentions. Hey, guess what? I'm glad you had good intentions, but you were still taking chemicals in your body. You were still harming yourself, and your intentions don't matter when you smoke. Your intentions they don't matter when you drink alcohol every day and then have liver failure and say, well, I had good intentions. I was just drinking. No, it doesn't matter. It's going to damage you regardless, because that's what it was designed to do. Cigarettes, by design, they are chemical. They're carcinogens. I know all that fancy words I don't even know about. They're designed to literally damage your body. They're poisons in your body, and that's the design of yoga. So, Angela, these stances, right? The triple fire breathing dragon, all these bending thing, which I love what someone in the chat said. They said, and by the way, these stretches are usually not even healthy for you. Your body's not even made to contort in the ways. And some of these ways, I'm just gonna say it, all right? I've seen some of these poses. Only a demon can make you do that. These are not healthy. The way your spine is bent and shaped and turned and all that. A lot of these poses are not healthy. They don't even look healthy. I mean, you don't have to be even like a scientist to see that. So what you're saying is these stances are not only, because I've always like taught and learned their prayer stances to Hindu gods, but not only that, you're actually becoming one with that God. You're in a sense embodying that God and giving I just thought about this, giving your body to that demon. You're giving your body over to that deity in the same way Romans 12 says what? Offer your body to God on the altar of living sacrifice. This is your pure and true and acceptable worship. Wouldn't it be like the devil that says, oh, God wants your body? Guess what? I also want your body, and I'm gonna use a practice called yoga for you to dedicate, yoga means union, guys, yoke yourself to these unclean spirits. Is that a safe definition to what you were saying?
100%. And it's, some people may not even be able to get on board with like you're opening yourself up to demons thing. Like, let's just break it all down to one very simple truth, and that God says, okay, so a lot of people, because a Christian can't have a demon crowd, and like I am worshiping God when I do it crowd. God literally says, like, eliminate all the other stuff we just talked about. In Deuteronomy 12:4, he says to not worship him like the pagans worship their gods. Wow. So that whole, like, I worship Jesus when I do yoga, like, no, done. It's done right there. You don't even have to talk about the demonic aspect. Just literally, that's what God says. Don't worship me in the ways that they do. So it's really simple.